Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome to this Sunday evening lecture and Sunday Feast program. Let's start now. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Manachari Yamuna Tira Manachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Jayo Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Gurudev Jayo Gurudev Sai Pramanande Hari Bol Srila Prabhupada ki jai Anant Koti Vaishnav ki jai Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-salakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sakana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Savaitam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So once again, welcome and thank you, Gandharvika Mataji, for allowing me to speak this timeless scriptures and books Srila Prabhupada taught us, and to inspire myself, and through this endeavor I'll try to inspire others to practice Krishna consciousness. When I look back in all these years of life in Krishna consciousness, I feel that I'm so fortunate to do what I'm doing, and it's like there is no smooth journey. There is like ups and downs, curve and twists. Recently I read a story from Gaur Gopal Prabhu's posts that if the road is straight, then there's one thing you can drive, learn something. But if you want to be really pro and something really skillful and nice, then you take roads that are a lot of turns and twists are there. And in this way, become a pro, very skillful driver. So in the life's journey, similarly, we come across many twists and turns in life. And if we skillfully empowered by the knowledge of Gita, time and again, then we'll not skid off from that curvy roads and continue our journey towards Krishna's lotus feet, under the Krishna lotus feet, under guidance of Guru and Srila Prabhupada. And this is being December marathon going on. Devotees are distributing books in many ways. I'm not such a good distributor and but I have always helped devotees. Well, in my brahmachari life, we used to go and distribute books in buses, in places, trains, local trains, and also in railway stations. We make up our book table and try to push books to many, ongoing passengers. Many other places also. I have some beautiful experiences. And we would go in groups, like 2-3 brahmacharis together. So like supporting each other, cooperating each other, and trying to push the books through. And also I had the good opportunity to preach the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, especially to the youths, while living in Mumbai Ashram and Chopati, Gopinath Temple. And I really enjoyed teaching Bhagavad Gita all these years. And here, devotees are working very hard, trying to, under guidance and inspiration of ISKCON Prabhu Nirmala Mataji, devotees are working really hard to distribute 1 million or 2 million Bhagavad Gita copies throughout the world. It's a really fantastic endeavor, and I pray, and whatever little way I participate, I do my little bit to fulfill this mission. Hansapriya and the team is cooking cookies to go along with Bhagavad Gita. I think they're making some 10,000 cookies in 2 days. It's like massive. But only 5 or 6 devotees, I guess, they're working hard to fulfill this requirement. And these cookies are coming out very nice, I can tell you. You'll eventually get some, it will come to you. And you'll distribute and you'll enjoy all these Christmas holidays. You're known for cookies and you'll get a lot of it. And the joy of distributing prasadam and books is something unmatched. The moment you give and somebody receives and gives, speaks a thanks note, it really makes you feel very worthwhile, that I have done something good, something great, something that not only, pleases Krishna and Radharani, but also, Prabhupada, of course, is extremely happy. And that experience of happiness totally engulfs by, distributing, and especially to strangers, to unknown, Usually in family, we are positively inclined to our family members, trying to feed them nicely, take care of them nicely. And we sometimes devotees say that, please pray that my father and mother start chanting. They should chant 16 rounds. Some say, let them, become devotees, let them give up non-vegetarian items. So we are naturally disposed when we practice Krishna consciousness to our own family members. And that's really great. But to give the compassion to somebody that we do not know in our entire life, a stranger, definitely going to bring a lot of fulfillment. And I have seen, especially when we do that to people in general, and when they appreciate, we feel really good. And I have seen that ultimately, when you start giving and talking to people and trying to make them devotee, help them in a devotional life, you will find that they are also like part of family only. It's not that they're some different stranger person you met someone blue moon in a very strange situation and time, but actually they are Krishna's family. We're all one family. Krishna is the supreme Lord, supreme God, the all merciful, compassionate Father, under whose all the children are scattered here and there, but we're just trying to collect them and coming together, making Krishna happy and serve Krishna. So, but how? But if Krishna is not there, then it becomes a philanthropy or uh, just a social service and just a mundane compassion, which is not bad, because Lord Krishna speaks about this in 12th chapter also, that you can serve everything to me, all devotion, all affection, everything you give it to me. But if you cannot, then try to do this, try to do that. In the end, he says, at least give to somebody. If you cannot give me, if you cannot give my devotees, support my devotees, he says. But if you cannot support the devotees or devotional service, or the spiritual activity the devotees do, if you cannot support that, then at least give something to somebody somewhere. Start giving, because when in that giving, uh, a in sacrifice, there is an experience which is transcendental, even if it is mundane, and that will inspire a person to search more. What is that happiness? Search more, and eventually land up at Krishna's lotus feet. Yeah. But if we try to do services, not keep Krishna in the center, then it's actually dry, because the world is full of so much miseries, how much we can address, and ultimately we'll be frustrated in trying to alleviate problems of this world. It's very difficult. It's because the world is designed to create problems. The world is designed, Dukhalayam, it is designed to give miseries. How much we can fix. You fix here, something else comes from there. You fix that, and something else comes from there. Like we're trying to keep good health. And I try to give yoga classes, but there are so many factors that can ruin our health, literally. So we have to be so much careful about so many things. Then you get to some kind of health. We can, of course, a lot of karma, many factors are there. But my point is, we try to help, try to serve, try to do many things, not keeping Krishna in the center. Then eventually we will give up doing those things, because it's not going to solve the problems. But if Krishna is the center and try to do little service, Krishna says, Solpam apisa dharmasya trayate mahatavaya. Even if little endeavor is done, the benefit is eternal. So if you give one cookie to a person, suppose somebody takes just one cookie. Okay, I'm not speaking about Bhagavad Gita, which is like even profound, and studying Bhagavad Gita, getting benefits is profound, lot way to go ahead. So if that is offered bhoga, I mean, this is prasadam of Krishna, then that benefit, is protected. So you'll never get frustrated of trying to preach Krishna consciousness or trying to help others in some way, whether food or prasadam or philosophy of Bhagavad Gita or kirtan, harinam. So many different fantastic deity worship, so many fantastic avenues, tirtha yatras. I see somebody's beautiful Mayapur picture is there in somebody's profile. So going to tirtha sthan like Mayapur, Vrindavan, the holy trips, everything. There is a nice sloka in deity worship we chant at the end, requesting for forgiveness to the Lord, because a lot of mistakes are performed while performing deity worship. That whatever I think, little bit offering I do, that please accept it, O Lord. Yad dattam bhakti matrana patram pusam phalam tayam. Bhakti matran means little or tiny or frugal devotion is there in my heart. Little bit devotion, whatever it is there, I'm offering little water. Bhakti matrana patram puspam phalam tayam. That is Krishna says in Gita. Yad dattam bhakti matrana patram pusam phalam tayam. Nivedantu tad grahanu kampaya. Please accept it out of compassion. And smutari chinta, smutari bacha. That my thoughts be always dwelling upon your pastimes, your form, your devotion, devotees' devotional service to you, and the devotees. My mind will maybe dwelt upon those things. Stutiri bacha means may I always glorify you. And then may my every step be towards holy places. So all these kind of thoughts, so Krishna considers so many activities. So when you try to help somebody, some person, in one way or other, and even if it's a little bit, we will get a lot of satisfaction by performing that activity. And we know the benefit for that person is eternal. It is not going to go in vain, right? So therefore, what Srila Prabhupada has given us, this service in Krishna consciousness, is so important and so powerful that it can actually eradicate the miseries are there, but it can eradicate those miseries and make us situate in a very transcendental platform and experience happiness in true sense. So the devotees here in ISKCON of Silicon Valley, I see by Prabhu's, Vaishika Prabhu's grace, Nirkula Mataji, and many other devotees, senior devotees, all of your, care, affection, and leadership. It's actually inspiring so many devotees here to serve Krishna and devotees in a very fantastic way. And what makes me more happy that there are disciples of many spiritual masters who are really serving in a very family and cooperative spirit, which is really something that pleasing Srila Prabhupada a lot. And that's what even though I'm coming from outside, and in one sense, of course, 1 year has already passed, but still I feel to be part of this family very much because of that affectionate bonding I am seeing here a lot. So I spoke a lot about these things, but let's speak a little bit about Gita, because Gita Jayanti is coming and you must be looking forward to hear something from Bhagavad Gita. And I'm very happy to share some of my thoughts. And actually Srila Prabhupada referred to many acharyas, like Vallabh Vidyabhushan. He says he appreciates him a lot, that inspires him a lot. His writing, Chakravarti Gurupal, Vishnu Chakravarti, his writings also Prabhupada refers. So Prabhupada has taken all the acharyas' commentary, and because he knows people like us, we don't have time to read so many acharyas' commentaries and understand them, appreciate them, and apply them. So very compassionately has taken all their mercy and put them together in his purpose. And as I said time and again, without Srila Prabhupada, I don't think I would have ever understood what is Bhagavad Gita is at all. I was studying Gita because I was inspired by my cousin, who's a doctor in London now, pediatrics specialist. And he was when he passed out his MBBS and practicing in New Delhi. I was there. I was studying in Delhi University. I stayed for some time with him before I got the hostel, so a month or so. And every day he used to read Bhagavad Gita. Every day he would open it before he goes to his work, take his bath, and he would read Bhagavad Gita, a few slokas, and go. And I got very much inspired by him. Lately, I met him. Now he's married with 2 kids and all. He's living settled down in London. And I met him a few months back, and we had a nice. After many years, I met him. It was nice. I saw the kids for the first time in my life. And unfortunately, he is not able to continue reading it. Partly, I feel because, no offense against him, at least he tried something in his life, and he's living a very sattvic life. So what I feel is, because probably he didn't come across Srila Prabhupada's teachings at that time. Therefore, he kind of could not hold it for a long time. But fortunately, I got inspired by him, and I was reading Bhagavad Gita for some time, and then by his Gauranga Prabhu and Radheshyam Prabhu. In the beginning, Radheshyam Prabhu is actually who spoke this Prabhupada's teachings in a way that really got my attention and cut my heart also. And he handed over the preaching power to Gauranga Prabhu in IIT when I was there in 1996, 97. And Gauranga Prabhu started his program there. And we were all assisting them. And that's how our journey started from there. But my point is, without Srila Prabhupada's teachings, I do not think I would have ever appreciated Bhagavad Gita the way I do now. So much clarity and so much connection to our own life, that we can connect to it. So I will just speak a little bit from the second chapter. And so there are so many. I'll speak one glorification of Bhagavad Gita. I don't know whether I spoke it here or not earlier, but I really get a lot of inspiration from that analogy example by one, I think Sripad Ramanacharya, Sripad Madhavacharya, and or one of his disciples who wrote these things, Sannyasi, great soul. He said Bhagavad Gita is like sun, brilliant, self-fulgent, and everything is clear and black and white. I mean, everything is so illuminated and clear that one can easily look at it and understand. I mean, that's the power of Bhagavad Gita. But then, just like if you drive in a very dark night, dark Amavasya night, no moonless night, and in a highway, there is no street light or anything, and another powerful vehicle comes with powerful headlight, very huge, powerful headlight. For some time, we go blind, right? We cannot see, even if we have some light, our own knowledge or whatever it is. Sometimes we go blind, total blackout. So what happens? Too much brilliant light also sometimes makes us like we turn away. We don't want it. Just like a child, for example, sleeping, winter morning, very. Of course, here because of California, we have good sun, but some places it's cloud all the time. But suppose a kid is sleeping, deep sleep, deep ignorance, and it's already morning, 5 o'clock, 6 or 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. The sun has already come up, and if you open the window, the light comes straight into the face. So the father may get a little, upset that why the kid is sleeping so late. So the father may come and just, open the curtains like this, kind of a little angry, opens the curtain, and a strong ray of light falls right in the face of the child. The child may open the eye for some time, then what the child does, usually they pull over all the blanket and pretend as if the sun is not there and go back to sleep. This is what happens. Sometimes we try to preach Bhagavad Gita or give book to people because the Gita is so brilliant, so powerful. People may just look at it and say, turn away. I don't want it. This is too much. So then this Acharya explains that sunlight is sometimes not, we don't accept it very happily. But moonshine is something that nobody denies. Moonshine is beautiful. One can bask in moonshine for hours and hours, no problem at all. Very happy and nice, no problem. The Rasa Leela happens in the moonlight. Krishna and the gopis, they dance not in the sunlight. Or the Gopas and gopis, they play in Vrindavan. Gopas, friends Krishna, they play in Govardhan, in the mountains where the trees are there and the shades are there, beautiful rivers are there, fountains are there. And there's some shade. It's not that full sunlight, everybody goes and do things. The moonlight is very welcome, very welcoming. But what is moonshine? Moonshine is nothing but a reflection of sunlight. It's the same sunlight, comes like moonshine. Now, the acharyas are like the moons, like Srila Prabhupada. Krishna or Bhagavad Gita is like fully brilliant. Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Vandakara. Krishna, there is Maya, cannot stay there. It's also brilliant, so full of light. But that light, sometimes we may not be able to take it, because of our anarthas, our attachments, like the child is attached to sleep, our conditioning, our desire to enjoy senses. These are the attachments so strong that sometimes it's very difficult. Then what the acharyas do, they take the same sunlight and then beam it back like moonshine, and we start appreciating the nectar so much. So Bhagavad Gita is one, but then the purports of Srila Prabhupada and all the acharyas are so soothing. It's like we said, well, this is so good. What made me not understand these things? Because of our ignorance is so thick. That's why we sing Om Ajnana Timirandasya, Jnananjana Salakaya. Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual masters are very kindly, out of compassion, has removed that ignorance from our eyes, so that we can see the beauty of the Krishna consciousness and devotional service bhakti. And therefore, without Srila Prabhupada's purports and Acharya's commentaries and devotees, explaining them time and again, when we hear, we will not be able to get the benefit of Gita if we try to understand them directly. I did earlier, but it was very unsuccessful. But with the proper disciples and his purports, it started becoming very clear. And the way Bhagavad Gita is presented is so beautiful. Sometimes there are two types of things. One is science, the other is art. We know these things. One is like mathematics, logic, reasoning. It's very dry. Very dry. Very few people can take very few people can get some rasa, some kind of taste out of those dry equations. Cannot bunch equations and be happy. It will not fulfill your stomach or heart or mind. They're all dry. This is all heavy logic reasoning. But there is a test, there is a kick there. People enjoy. Therefore, the whole Silicon Valley is nothing but intellectual logic reasoning and all those things. And there is a kick there, so people keep doing it. But it's very dry. One gets tired. So science, with all its logic and reasoning, all the intellectual depth, they say it has an end. In the sense, like some scientists, they believe whatever discovery was made in 1892, so 1925, that's it. There is no further discovery after that. It is all just applications. Even the mobile phone that we're using today is all application of the theory that was discovered way back. But what was developed is the art, because art has no end. Therefore, the Apple is able to produce a new iPhone every year because art has no end. They add so many angles, so many things they can put together, and that will keep selling their product. The technology also refining technology is happening, but it is like the same thing we refine more and more and more. Try to put more transistor in one chip and make it more efficient. These are the kind of thing that is happening, which is also kind of art. So what I'm trying to say is, Bhagavad Gita, although it's just philosophy, it's a philosophy of life, philosophy who we are, who God is, what is karma, what is triguna. It's like such a complicated, this comes, Krishna takes special chapter, all the three modes of matter nature, I think 14th chapter. After speaking all the things, 12th chapter is over, all the yoga system, again he speaks exclusively on triguna. And so you can imagine, it's all so complicated, intricate. And there is dead, there is living, and all the combination, their connections, their disconnections. So a lot of philosophical treatise, we can say, Bhagavad Gita, which is in one sense dry. Upanishad is dry in that sense. But because Krishna is speaking, and it's a song, Bhagavad Gita, it's a song, in a form of song, and there's a relationship between Lord and his devotee, or two friends, very intimate, thick friends. They are the good friends because why? Because all the good time, bad time, they're side by side. In fact, they're side by side more during bad times. Then in Gita, Kunti Maharani says, let bad times more so that we can see your lotus face again and again, So that's how Kunti Maharani is praying to Krishna when he was departing back to Dwarka. But they're good friends. Why? Because in bad times, they're side by side all the time. Krishna is always besides the Pandavas. Anyway, so the point is, while speaking this truth about life, Lord Krishna, he sings and explains, and it is not just philosophy, but a thick connection between two intimate friends. And that's what is exciting about Bhagavad Gita, that here two friends, of course, one of them is God. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Vasudev is very, very protective of the readers to not commit an offense. So Vasudev is very protective of all of us so that we don't commit any mistake by saying Krishna is an ordinary person. He makes it very clear, he's Bhagavan. Be careful. Be careful. Do not deal with Lord Krishna in a very, offensive manner. Don't be envious. Don't be offensive. And because he's Bhagavan. But he's taking the role of Krishna and taking the role of friend of Arjuna and explaining all this thing. Bhakto sime sakha cheti. Because you're my friend and you're my devotee. So of course, of the two, he says, because what qualifies Arjuna to understand Bhagavad Gita is his devotional qualities. Bhakto sime sakha cheti. You are my devotee in the form of a friend. Because devotee can come in so many different forms, like father, mother, Krishna's friends and Krishna's children also. So many different form one can, Sravanam, Kirtanam. So all these things are devotees. So there are different ways one can be Krishna's devotee, but devotion is the important thing. Bhakto sima sakha cheti. Rahasya means the mystery. The mystery of Gita will unfold to you because you are my devotee and friend. So who is a friend? Friend means they don't see anything bad about their friends. Like I know I was a child. I still have some friends from my childhood that still were in touch. Sometimes some other guys would come and speak something negative about them. My first reaction is I would not listen to those things because I love my friends. That's all. So what happens? So when the friends, Krishna Arjuna are friends, means they see the good in each other. That's why they're friends, and that also helps one to become devotee of Krishna. So these are the things that qualifies Arjuna to understand the mystery, and the way they speak, the whole chapter after chapter, the discussion goes on. It's very beautiful. And sometimes they argue, sometimes they fight, sometimes they get dejected with each other. But they can come back to understand the absolute truth. And that's the beauty of this book. The trust and faith between the two is never hampered. Sometimes we see people argue, they come and argue in a class or question answer session, but they get frustrated at the end. Even as preacher, we also get something frustrated because the purpose is not strong. The goal to understand the truth, that is not strong. Therefore, we get personal and we lose interest. That's very unfortunate. But here, the purpose is very strong. Why I should fight? Why I should kill Bhishma and Drona and all these things. This purpose is so strong. So there is no question of any personal dislikes. The two friends are discussing to find out what is the real remedy. And that's how the whole Bhagavad Gita begins. Sripad Shankaracharya glorifies again about Bhagavad Gita that how it is coming from the lotus mouth of Lord Shri Krishna. Ganga, Mother Ganga, which comes from his lotus feet, has the power to purify. But these words of Krishna, which is coming from his lotus mouth, is actually also one takes shower in these words, one get more benefit. Like Shankaracharya says about Bhagavad Gita, glorifying Gita, that Ganga, you have to go to Ganga all the way to India and to North India and all places in the Himalayas. And of course, Mayapur, she is there. Mother Ganga is there, Calcutta. That's the last portion before she disappears into the ocean. But you have to go all the way there to take a shower. And if it is freezing cold, probably you'll take 3 drops. So that all these things are there. One needs a lot of effort to take bath in Ganga. But Bhagavad Gita, fortunately, what a wonderful thing by Srila Prabhupada's mercy and his devotion to Krishna. This is available to so many people now. Amazing. And they can just take quick bath. Every day just read 1 or 2 verses. The quick bath is there. And our consciousness will be so much surcharged with spiritual positive energy. Anyway, so this is one glorification that also I feel inspired to speak about. And here, the whole thing, as we know, it begins with Arjuna being bewildered about his duties. He got afflicted when he saw Drona and Bhishma in the battlefield, standing in the opposite army, whom he loved with all his heart. Dronacharya, actually, he also loved Arjuna so much that he would give the Brahmastra knowledge to Arjuna first, but would not give it to his own son. And he would not give it because he was not qualified. Kripi, the son of Dronacharya, and so see, he would not give him the knowledge, although he was his own son. But he later gave, but he not give the full thing, half thing. Arjuna gave everything, and Arjuna knows this, and Arjuna is very much attached to his lotus feet, his teachings, his great qualities. But now he's standing against him. Isn't that strange? Such a interesting life, of Arjuna, the Pandavas. They're standing against Drona and Bhishma. It's like something last thing that they would do in their life, but they're standing against each other with raised weapons, basically to kill. So there is no third thing. It's a all knockout. It's not knockout. It's kill out. That's a battle. And Arjuna, for some time, he got confused about his duties, and he turns to Krishna and says, I cannot do this war. I cannot fight this war. So this amazing thing, it is said that Lord Krishna actually brings Arjuna specifically in front of Drona and Bhishma, because he was thinking to deliver Bhagavad Gita before the battle begins. Sorry, close. Yeah, my battery was low, so a little bit, but it will continue, no problem. So what I was trying to say is, Lord Krishna brought Arjuna right in front of Bhishma and Drona with the purpose to bewilder him only. And he says, behold the Kurus. He didn't say Bhishma or Drona because he said, these are your people, but they're standing with the Kurus. Behold all the Kurus. And who's standing in front? Bhishma and Drona. Isn't that amazing? I mean, just very tactfully brought, because he wanted to speak Bhagavad Gita. The Lord is so compassionate, so merciful, and there could not be better timing. There could not be better timing to give the knowledge of Gita than this. There could not be better timing. I mean, any other time Krishna would have spoken, probably would not take it so seriously as we are doing it today. I don't know. I mean, Krishna can do anything. He is all powerful. But the way dramatically, or the way he brought this knowledge into this world is something really, really amazing. Very close, intimate, Drona and Bhishma. And here Arjuna is getting bewildered. And then Krishna speaks this knowledge for the benefit of all of us. So that means, in one sense, Lord Krishna was thinking about all of us, all future generation, all the jiva. And then we may be thinking how important it is to distribute this book. Again, coming back to the same point, that he was thinking, meditating before a ghastly war is about to take place, that how to get this knowledge so that millions of people, millions of souls are benefited later. And so that compassion, that thought, and he says in the end of Bhagavad Gita that no one is more dear to me than one who distributes or shares his knowledge with others in this material world. Of course, we're not competing with any pure devotees in Golok Vrindavan. They are the best. But in the material world, the main purpose of Krishna is to distribute this knowledge. And anybody who's doing wholeheartedly, he's very compassionately disposed to them. I mean, he said they're the best. No one is more dear than them. They're the most dear, to Krishna's heart. And we can see from this instance that how he stops the war for some time and brings Arjuna, puts him under bewilderment and speaks this whole thing. And it's so natural for Arjuna to get bewildered, and many qualities manifest in that bewilderment. That, like Acharya says, the Prabhupada also speaks, that how his senses are actually controlled because he doesn't want to enjoy. Can you imagine what an allurement? All this big war we see in history, all this Alexander and so many big wars, huge wars. Why? Such a huge kingdom and huge sovereignty, huge power, money, strength. People don't mind to fight this big wars. Some people die. And if you look at any of these wars, it's all a very bitter kind of things. Sometimes we wonder why they're fighting all these things, all this war. But the intoxication of power, money, jurisdiction, and all these things is so huge that these people, this can't sit quiet. They have to go out and fight. Sorry. So in this way, we see Arjuna, Prabhupada mentioned one, he's soft-hearted, and his senses are controlled. Why? Because he doesn't want to enjoy after winning this war. So that shows that he's highly controlled. And that is one reason why Krishna chose to speak this to him. He just picked up Arjuna to speak because all these great qualities are there with him. But at the same time, Krishna is saying you are a Hruda Dobalyam, that you have weak-hearted. You have soft. Prabhupada says soft heart, then it said his weak heart. Soft heart, why? Because he is a warrior of highest caliber. Only few days back, prior to this war, he alone defeated all the big warriors of Kaurava, like Bhishma, Karna, and Dronacharya also there. All of them are there. And single-handedly, single-handedly, very expertly, very dexterously, he just subdued them completely. And they just ran away. They just ran away. And they were thinking, who's this person? Then somebody of them said, no, he has to be Arjuna. And by the time they found out he's Arjuna, the Agyanvas is already over. That time was already over. So anyway, so that's another story. The thing is, he is very powerful, very, very similar and very focused, and he could do those things. So it's not that he was afraid of war, not at all. He's not afraid. It's not fear that is, making him weak. It is that soft-heartedness and that big warrior. That soft heart is, all his strength is going away. He's losing that strength, which he was having, is because of this weakness. And at that point, Lord Krishna, he starts giving this his teachings. He says, how was this bewilderment come upon you, which is contrary to liberation? Prohibits from you all the good things. Next, like he says, that one will go to hell. He was giving many reasons why he doesn't want to fight. And one of that reason was to go to hell. So he said, if you don't fight, it is akriti, and it is aswargyam, that you will not be able to go to heaven by not doing this duty. In fact, it is the opposite. If you don't fight, it is the opposite. And and where is the contamination is coming from? So in this way, the Lord is kind of chastising Arjuna, trying to check with him that why he's speaking like this. When he was trying to check like this, then Arjuna, he says, Lord Krishna says, actually, Klaiba masma gama pata naita toi upatpadyate shudram hridayrovalyam tatotishta parantapa. That it is very Klaiba means cowardice. Actually, Klaiva linga means there is three linga in our literature. What is Strilinga, Purushalinga, and Klivalinga? Klivalinga means it's like neither this nor that, which is not very much a glory in one sense. So here the Lord is saying something like that. Are you man, or what is this? It's like kind of criticism, little pinching Arjuna's ego and things like that. And cowardice, another way Prabhupada also translated is coward. You're a coward. That's not manly, that is cowardice. You're running away from responsibilities, from duties. But then Arjuna is saying this is not cowardice actually. This is not cowardice in the form of lack of courage, but rather a judgment arising through consideration of proper action towards those worthy of worship, such as Bhishma, and an act of compassion towards cousins like Duryodhana. So there is a compassion for my brothers, and there is a feeling towards people who are worthy of worship like Bhishma. So it is not lack of courage. You call it cowardice. Why? Because cowardice involves with the feeling of lack of courage that is connected to those who are not having courage or having fear and running away. That is cowardice. That is not I am. Arjuna is saying. So then Krishna is saying this is not correct judgment. Neither it is compassion, but a transitory weakness of heart. Then he's saying you are thinking it is okay. It is not cowardice. Okay, let's settle with that. But then you are saying it is a compassion, or this is no. It is a weakness of heart. What is a weakness of heart means? Sometimes we see the mothers, especially towards their children, there is a weakness in their heart, in the sense that they will give compassion, although that compassion may be sometimes dangerous for the child's growth. And I have seen some extreme cases because I was preaching and came across so many families. One mother and father, mostly mother, see so much spoon-fed the kids even after they grown up. Very sad to say that they're intelligent boys, but they could not uh, grow the way a person's supposed to grow. I have seen extreme case. But more or less we see in every family, every mother, they spoil their love, sometimes spoil the child, right? That that thing that spoils the children is a kind of weakness of heart. Hrudrovalyam. Lord Krishna is saying, you are saying compassion. These guys are so horrible, Duryodhana and all of the party, they're so nasty people, and you are saying compassion to them. This is nothing but a weakness of heart. Therefore, give up this weakness and prepare for the fight. Uttishta. O afflictor of the enemy, Parantapa, do not become the laughing stock of the enemy. He says. Here, Krishna says something very nice, and that's really something very nice. He says, you think, sorry, I have a few minutes. He says, you think that you are a great person, you have a great heart, and you, out of compassion, you didn't fight, you lived and you went on begging and all. You don't think that your enemy will think like that about you. They will only say this guy got afraid and he ran away. They will never give you the credit that you think you are doing to them. So they will always describe you in so many poetry of criticism. So that's not going to work. So then Arjuna, then he says, but then how, O Madhusudana, killer of enemies, how will I fight with arrows in the battle against Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of worship? And in this sloka, that Arjuna speaks to Krishna, he is little bewildered. See, sometimes when the spiritual master tells us something contrary to our thoughts, it's very difficult to accept. It's very tough. But here Arjuna, although he's kind of arguing back and forth, but gradually he's accepting Krishna's points wholeheartedly, and that's how he is able to understand the truth in a proper way. But here we see the typical way we oppose the thoughts of spiritual master's instruction, teachings, is something Arjuna is showing here. He says, and while speaking that desperate, sometimes like Acharyas explain that he's speaking one word twice. Okay, sometimes when we make mistakes or make desperate or kind of in a different level of consciousness, we speak things twice without knowing. So in this sloka, he says, Katham bhismam aham samkhe dronacha madhusudana ishubhi patyachami puja rao arisudana. Arisudana and Madhusudana. Twice he is saying, like, you are the killer of enemy, killer of enemy. You killed many enemies, like including Kamsa. But of course, Kamsa was Krishna's uncle. And there are many other asuras he killed who are not his relative, like Bakasura and Dhanukasura and so many other asuras he killed. But Kamsa was his relative, nevertheless. But on the other hand, when Arjuna was speaking this, he didn't thought about Kamsa. He thought about like Krishna's guru is Sandipani Muni, and Krishna's grandfather, I think Ugrasan. Ugrasan is another personality. So he's indirectly saying, you are killer of enemies. Would you ever fight with, Ugrasan or Sandipani Muni? Would you like to fight and kill them? You'll never do that. You're only enemy. You're killer of enemies. That's how you know. And he speaks this word twice in the same verse. And but how Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of worship, how will I, speak about these things? If Bhishma and others attack, why should you not attack them? Krishna is saying. See, okay, you are saying not worthy of killing. But if they attack, why should you not attack? If they attack, you're supposed to attack. Because that's the rule of the Kshatriyas fight. And Bhisma, grandfather Drona are teachers who gave knowledge. The Arjuna is saying, but they gave me knowledge. How will I attack them with arrows? It's not proper to attack even with joking words with those who should be worshipped with flowers and other articles of respect. So Bhishma and Drona are supposed to be worshipped, flowers and other things. The Pusmanjali we give, Vyasa Puja. So he's saying, how will I kill them? Even if I cannot even jokingly criticize them. This is something very powerful, in one sense we should understand. Jokingly also we cannot criticize. Sometimes many of the, unfortunately, many jokes in the Kali Yuga jokes are filled with criticisms, this way or that way. It is at cost of others, and that's not really so great. These jokes are sometimes dangerous. Anyway, so he is saying, quoting that, he's saying, how can I joke words those who should be worshipped? I cannot even, joking word, I cannot speak joking words also. So in this way, then Lord Krishna goes back and forth. Then he concludes, Arjuna concludes that it is better to eat by begging in this life, not killing such great elders. Having killed elders who were even desiring wealth, I will enjoy objects contaminated with their blood. So on the one hand, Krishna is saying that you should kill them if they're with adharma. On the other hand, he's saying, I will not be able to enjoy, because such enjoyments will be tainted with their blood. And it's better to subsist by begging. So Krishna is saying, actually you should reject Bhisma and others, though they are teachers, since they are also contaminated with the arrogance for war and have thus lost discriminations of right and wrong by association with Duryodhana and others who are using this war to commit violence to you and take out your kingdom by deceit. So therefore you're supposed to kill them, because they have taken side of people out of arrogance, although they have taught you something some point of time. So, and then there are slokas in the Mahabharata, other places, that then, acharyas they quote, like, one should reject the guru who is proud, does not know proper behavior of right and wrong, and who becomes addicted to sinful life. So these are the teachings of Mahabharata, that when one can reject the guru. One should reject the guru who is proud, does not know proper behavior of right and wrong, and who becomes addicted to sinful life. But then Arjuna again argues, but they have the most outstanding powers among all persons, Mahanubhavan. They are Mahanubhava. Oh, how is it so? Because they have studied the Vedas so well and led brahmachari life, and having brought time, lust, and other factors under control. Like Bhishma had a murtyu, icha murtyu. Icha murtyu means he will not die unless he wants it. That means he has conquered time. Because time kills everybody, right? Murtyu sarvaras chaham, Krishna explains in Gita also, that I in the form of time destroy everything. I take away everything in the form of death. But Bhishma would not die until he wants, and he actually saw it, even if he was pierced by so many arrows by Arjuna. But he would not die till he beholds the beautiful form of Krishna's lotus face, and till he did not see Bhishma, who deserves the kingdom, to be the monarch of the kingdom, in that attire, in that beautiful attire, and that kingly disposition. So he saw all those things. Then he said, okay, now it's for me to return back. So he had conquered time. So this is such a powerful person. You cannot see a small mistake here and there. Very powerful arguments actually Arjuna is making. And that's why his love and affection for Bhishma. At the same time, also there is a weakness part, which Krishna is speaking about. So he's saying, this person is so powerful, and sometimes powerful people may do some mistakes, and that mistake should not be seen, because it is said actually in many places, some places, that sometimes the faults should not be seen in big personalities, because they're so useful tool in Krishna's service as an instrument. One should not. So there's some quotes like Chanakya and other quotes are there. So Arjuna is saying, giving a similar statement here, saying that he's such a great person. So they're free from the faults arising from these factors. So we cannot say these are faulty. Then Krishna says to remind Arjuna that Vishnu himself said once that man is a servant of wealth, but wealth is not the servant of anyone. We can be servant of wealth, but wealth is not servant of anyone. This is the truth. I have been bound up by the wealth of Kauravas. He admits that I have been, of course, this is humility. We will not take these statements very seriously because he is speaking. The third party is not speaking. He is speaking that I am so bad, so attached person. I am bound up by these wealths, but we don't take it as. On the other hand, Krishna actually is saying Arjuna that he has taken all this greed for the wealth, and he should be killed. This is how Acharya explains. So even if, then Arjuna finally says, even if I kill these gurus who are unqualified because of their desire of wealth or whatever it is, Artha Kaman, I enjoy in this world, I cannot enjoy in the next life. For those enjoyments will be mixed with their blood, Rudhira Pradighan. It is not pure enjoyment because it has been obtained through killing them. So though contaminated with pride in fighting, they are still worthy of respect. He's kind of convinced about that. Therefore, although he's saying I'm going to kill, but he manifests. He continued to acceptance them as gurus. Although the faults are there, Drona decides to fight on behalf of Kaurava. Still, his respect for them, guru, still remains. But then what happens? So this is the thing in life, that we may be, we may be we may be thinking that big logic, big science, big thing theories we may speak about, but at the end of the day, our heart knows what we are. In the sense, Arjuna speaks all these philosophies, but he is confused. If the philosophies are all correct, then he should be happy at the end of the. So when you give a good argument and it is correct, then you'll feel happy and satisfied. What is happening in Arjuna case? No, he is not happy and satisfied. He is confused. This is what he says. That we do not know which is better. Now here the word is coming we. He's not saying I, kind of like that. We do not know which is better, whether we should conquer them or whether they should conquer us. These sons of Dhritarashtra, by killing whom we do not wish to live, are standing before us. That actually Arjuna saw, many different choices he looked at. Okay, either he will fight or not fight. If he doesn't fight, he will beg. That's what the next shloka is, that better to live by begging, So in one sense, that if I fight, if I do not fight, I have to beg, which is like not much Kshatriya's duty. It is a defamation. And if he fights, then either he will kill. If he kills, then he loses his relatives, or they kill him, he loses his life. So in whichever direction he saw a disaster. So that the life kind of come to a dead end. There is nothing to go ahead. It's like nothing. If I go this way, there is problem. This way, there is problem. This way, wherever I go, there is problem. And as a result, he's feeling very frustrated and says, what can be done? I do not know which is better for me, fighting or begging. I do not know if it is better to give up violence and live by begging, or it is better to fight according to my duty. I do not know whether I will be victorious over Dhritarashtra's sons or they will be victorious over me in the battle once it started. So then he says, I will not desire to leave having killed all of them, the sons of Dhritarashtra and elders like Bhishma, what to speak of enjoying the fruits of victories. Though we all be victorious, we will certainly be defeated in terms of results. So there is a victory, but actually there is a defeat. So he doesn't see a victory at all. He saw defeat at the end of the whole thing. In this way, he's very confused. And he's saying Karpunya dosa bhava. Then he actually explains that this is all because of Karpunya dosa, which is basically nothing but selfishness. So one is Brahmana, one is Karpanya. So Brahmana is like charitable person who wants to give. The Karpanya is Kripana. Kripana is not people who are willing. They're always self-concerned, so self-concerned that they forget to benefit others. So he saw that because of all these weaknesses, I'm not able to resolve. Kindly guide me. I am become a student. So from a friend position, he came down. Actually, it is very important. Like we say, understand. Understand means to understand, you have to stand under somebody, right? So here Arjuna is actually voluntarily stepping down from the friend to student position because that bewilderment, that whatever he saw, problem, that was so overwhelming. He said, I forget friendship, please tell me I'm a student now. And then Krishna actually starts giving Bhagavad Gita. So in this way, this whole narration begins, and then beautiful philosophical points and so many thoughts comes, and that's is very inspiring. So again, once again, thank you for listening to this, to be here and be part of this Sunday Feast program. I'm sure all of you have cooked some nice prasadam at your home, and you are, after the program, you will have together family nice hot prasadam, Krishna prasadam. Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments? Anything I can help with?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Samra Prabhu. And Pranam.
Such a nice class. In the beginning, you were telling that acharyas are like moons, and Bhagavad Gita is like a sun, brilliant, effulgent. And when it is presented by the acharyas, it is very cooling, and we can appreciate. So
Yes.
I saw a similar thing in your presentation also. It was so. Really, I only could remember Jagannath Puri Mishti Dal, like sweet dal of Jagannath Puri. So very nice way of presenting. I was feeling like
Thank you.
on forever. So one question, Prabhuji, that you are mentioning about your friend, right, who was used to very nicely study Bhagavad Gita, and that was very inspiring to everyone, especially to you. And now it is different reason it's becoming difficult, right? So I just wanted to ask you, how do we uh, how can we prioritize Bhagavad Gita reading? How to get a taste for that, so that in a regular basis, um, because we ourselves, if we are not doing, then how we can inspire others? We can only give what we have. So
Yeah.
how to develop that thing, the taste, that we are really attracted to Bhagavad Gita, and we are really want to relish more and more, and of course then regularly we keep studying. What do you think are some of the things that
Yeah.
we could do?
Very nice question, sincere question, Prabhuji asking. I remember teaching Bhagavad Gita is something, if we adopt, then it is easier for us to, like, there are so many study circle here in ISB also, I know. That's very good programs, because then when you come together, share and reading and all, is good because we are committed and we do that. In Kali Yuga, everything happens in groups. We know that. The strength comes through unity. So when we program to teach something, then we are forced to read. That is one way. That's a very not a very higher standard. But yes, like today I have class, so I have to go through the pages of Gita and start meditating, thinking what I'll speak or will not speak, things like that. So that gives that is one way. The other, actually, the true worship of Bhagavad Gita is by studying it. It is described in Bhagavad Gita. Other places, Prabhupada also says the worship of Gita is by studying it. Sometimes we can put an altar and do arati. That's also puja, no problem. Krishna's, compassionate, word, Bhagavad Krishna, Vani. So that is the worth of worship of arati and everything, flowers. But the true worship of Gita is by studying it. And we have seen in our own little life that we have studied, so many subjects in our life, so many degrees, whatever we have done. Study is not a very, something that you just sit and study. It doesn't happen like that. There has to be some pushing and some pulling, pushing, and then we go to the study table, we open the books and say, okay, let's see what is there. Okay, problem hai, iska kya theory hai, ye hai. Then we solve it. And we go ahead in life, we progress like that, right? So Bhagavad Gita means we have to pull ourselves, gather ourselves, and actually make us sit and open. Here, and I see in Grihastha life, because I have both luxury of both lives. In Brahmacharya, a lot of seva, all rightly connected to Krishna and Guru, and also very challenging to study scriptures. It's not easy. And here, but I had the very good fortune, Krishna's grace and Guru Maharaj's grace. I got to serve Bhagavat form, in book Bhagavat and person Bhagavat. So I had that good opportunity to serve him. And in home also we offer deities and other services are there. But in Grihastha life, it's a little more complicated because responsibility. Responsibility is the big, the tag that we have to carry. And that responsibility, as much as you can make it Krishna conscious, that's how it is. But otherwise, we have to find time, if not every day, in a week, if you decide some hours and study for study's sake, we decide some hours and actually sit and release the study. Like in Girgaon Chopadi, when we put Radha Gopinath to rest in the night, when lights are very low light and everything goes off, they're on the bed, flowers and all the chadar vadar some डाल के massage भी थोड़ा करते हैं पैर में. After the massaging his lotus feet, everything, then the pujari sits down there and reads from Krishna book to Krishna. So while hearing about his own pastime, he goes to Sukha Nidra Gala. Paramanande, he eats happily, nicely, there is arati, devotees come and interacts with them lovingly, give blessings and hears people's grievances, and then finally again there is San Arati Shut Kirtan, and he sleeps, and then we read to him Krishna's beautiful pastimes, he hears and goes to sleep. So when I come back here, I decided, Hansapriya and me, we decided that we'll read to Krishna Balaram and go to rest. So reading from Bhagavatam. So in that way, every day some reading is happening. Some reading is happening without that thing is happening. Besides that, if we get time, then we study a little more. But I would say this Gita is so deep and so beautiful. We can read for eternity and it will give you pleasure, no problem. So therefore, if you find out some time, and as I said, for study, we need to, pull ourselves, like any endeavor, any good work, because Kali Yuga, everything bad is naturally happens. Good but endeavor. So yoga or walking, jogging, or anything, any good effort that is, going against the current requires the effort. Yeah. Thank you for that nice, wonderful question.
Thank
I
you.
hope I
Very nice
get
answer.
insight. Hare Krishna. So it's already 6:16, 1 minute over the program. I'll just wait for Aprame Prabhu to direct me.
Prabhu, you can, this is at your order. Whenever you want to end, you can end.
Okay, if there are any more questions any devotees have, I'll be taking one more question if there. Otherwise, we'll look at them. Okay. So we'll have now kirtan 5 minutes. Okay. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Gurudev Jaya Srila Gurudev Nitai Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Namaste Narasimhaya Prahaladalaladayine Hiranyakasi Purvakshaha Silatanka Nakhalaye Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha Yato Yamitato Narsimha Mahir Narsimha Hrudaye Narsimha Narasingha Madim Saranam Prapadye तव कर कमल भरे नाथाम अद्भुत श्रृंगार दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गाम् केशवधृता नरहरि रूप जयो जगदीश हरे जयो जगदीश हरे जयो जगदीश हरे। लक्ष्मी नरसिंह भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, गौतमानंदे हरे बोल। अंत कोटि कृष्ण वंदे की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, जय गौतम। हरे कृष्णा। Thank you very much. Thank you everybody. Aprameya Prabhu.
Yes. So we
Yeah.
thank everybody for joining today's class by His Grace Radha Vallabh, and we hope that you continue to join online and through Zoom for our future and upcoming programs. Hare Krishna.